Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be embarking on a two-day visit to Nepal this week. He is likely to announce 3 separate surprise gifts for Kathmandu, Janakpur and Muktinath temple. He will visit Hindu temples and reach out to the people of Nepal. As close neighbours, India and Nepal share a unique relationship, that of friendship and cooperation, characterised by open borders and deep-rooted people-to-people contact. WION Gravitas reports from Kathmandu.
Nepal is all set to welcome the Indian Prime Minister, who will be on the two-day visit to the country from 11th to 12th of May. He will be visiting 3 cities, Janakpur, Kathmandu and Muktinath. He will be jointly inaugurating the Arun 3 project along with the Nepal's Prime Minister. The Arun 3 project is the biggest infrastructure and hydroelectric power project in Nepal.
The Indian Prime Minister will depart from Patna on an Indian Air Force helicopter and land at Janakpur's Paharbika. He will address a public rally in Janakpur, which is said to be linked to Indian tourism's Ramayan circuit. Modi will arrive in Kathmandu after completing his official engagements in Janakpur. Prime Minister Modi will be accorded a ceremonial welcome at Tundikhel in Kathmandu before he meets with Prime Minister KP Oli for delegation-level talks. Prime Ministers Oli and Modi will lay the foundation of Arun 3 hydroelectricity project through video conferencing. In Mustang, the Indian Prime Minister will visit Muktinath, which is a sacred place for both Hindus and Buddhists. Within Hinduism, it is called Mukti Kshetra, which literally means the place of liberation or moksha. This temple is considered to be the 106th among the available 108 Divya Desams considered sacred by the Sri Vaishnava sect.
The Prime Minister of India is leveraging diplomacy with faith. He, along with the Prime Minister of Nepal, will be jointly inaugurating a bus service from Janakpur, which is the birthplace of Goddess Sita, towards Ayodhya. And Janakpur will be part of the Ramayana circuit. Of course, the Prime Minister of Nepal will be receiving the Indian Prime Minister at the Janki temple in Janakpur, while the Defence Minister will be receiving the Indian Prime Minister when he arrives here in Nepal.
Oli's visit was seen as an attempt to repair Nepal's ties with India. In 2016, Oli had publicly criticized India for allegedly interfering in Nepal's internal matters and accused it of toppling his government. India is Nepal's largest trading partner and the largest source of foreign investments, besides providing transit for almost the entire third country trade of Nepal. India accounts for over 2/3 of Nepal's merchandise trade, about 1/3 of trade and services, 46% of foreign direct investments, almost 100% of petroleum supplies, and a significant share of inward remittance on account of pensioners and workers.
Well, India-Nepal ties have been a roti-beti ka rishta. The relationship has been a special one, and the Indian Prime Minister would like to make it more special with this visit. This is the 3rd visit of the Indian Prime Minister. He first came to Nepal on a bilateral visit. Then he went to SAARC for another visit, and he came here in Nepal. And finally, this visit is happening. Big focus will be on how the Indian Prime Minister tries to build new bonds between New Delhi and Kathmandu. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Siddhant Sibal from Kathmandu.
As Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Nepal, there's a lot that the two sides are hoping to achieve apart from inaugurating some of those development projects. Faith will, of course, be an important aspect. And that is something that both sides will be focusing on, the faith diplomacy, as many are calling it. But there is one elephant in the room, and that is China. South Asia was once considered India's backyard. Now has to deal with increasing Chinese influence. From Islamabad to Colombo to Dhaka to Kathmandu, China it seems is here to stay in South Asia. Siddhant Sibal sent us this report.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do, goes a saying. But if China has its way, when in Kathmandu, do as the Chinese do. China is increasing its influence in the whole of South Asia, from the Maldives to Nepal. Just walk around the bazaars of Kathmandu and one can't miss noticing China's presence. It's omnipresence across the city. From signboards to Chinese tourists to businesses to hotels, go to shops and you will find many of them being owned by Chinese. Chinese currency changers are everywhere.
टूरिस्ट तो वर्ल्ड के आते हैं, लेकिन ज़्यादा डिपेंडेंट अब चाइनीज़ पे हुआ बीच में, लेकिन जो बुनचाल हुआ था इधर से बहुत फर्क आ गया, लगभग 70% कम आ रहे हैं अब चाइनीज़, क्योंकि रोड से आते थे बहुत सारे, प्लेन से सब नहीं आ सकते हैं, तो रोड तो बंद हो गया, पहाड़ वहाड़ गिर गए, तो उससे फर्क हो गया।
China has quietly flooded Kathmandu.
There seems to be a growing influence of China here in Kathmandu. I'm standing in the Thamel area of Kathmandu, which is the business district of this city. There are over 200 Chinese shops and hotels in this place itself. And you can even get a China SIM if you're flying to China from Nepal. And the influence is so much that even the signboards are here are in English and in Chinese.
Tourism, which forms an essential part of Nepal's economy, has a major Chinese role today. China is the second largest source of foreign tourists to Nepal. Over 100,000 Chinese tourists visit Nepal annually. But it's difficult to start a conversation when they don't know English and you don't know Chinese.
Travel, tourist.
Sorry.
Okay, you can go.
A walk through the markets explains how China is here to stay.
Before it was very nice. After the earthquake and blockade, there are no more tourists. Before, there are lots of tourists anytime, no any off season. Nowadays, during the season also no more tourists.
Okay.
Very few. Is usually are here.
Okay.
Normally,
Okay.
lots of them have their own business in here.
80% of the signs in the tourists' guide shops are in Mandarin. The government of Nepal had waived visa fees for Chinese tourists since January 2016. So what is making China-Nepal ties grow stronger? Nepali journalist Jubaraj Jimiri believes the ties haven't been impacted by any issues.
Nepal-China relations, diplomatic relations, are more than six decades old now. And there have rarely been any misunderstanding. One, the scale of, diplomatic relation was not that, massive. Two, Nepal and China didn't have much bigger problems. Even the boundary disputes they sorted out, whereas it's not been sorted out in India. Third, China adopted a very realistic approach in the sense that it always advised Nepalese that China cannot substitute India in Nepal.
Even as India-Nepal ties hit a low, China was making rapid progress with Kathmandu. In recent years, China has emerged as one of the largest FDI contributors to Nepal. The economic engagement between the world's second largest economy and the Himalayan country has kept on growing.
There's a growing influence of China in Kathmandu and rest of Nepal. China has even proposed a connectivity plan that connects China, Nepal and India. But India has said that it would rather pursue its own connectivity plans with Nepal. Clearly, China is the elephant in the room, and the growing Chinese influence in Kathmandu worries New Delhi. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Siddhant Sibal from Kathmandu for WION.